nobody likes to watch the old lady babbling on for more than 10 minutes at a time. And I'll set my timer again. So anyway, at some point, I don't know why, he decided to come to Canada. And he actually became a homesteader in Rocky Mountain House, Alberta. And at that point, the Yukon Gold Rush was starting. And so he said, I'm going to go monkey around up there. And he became the first licensed paddle wheeler captain on the Yukon River, hauling people, mostly men, up to the gold fields. So he did that for a bit, and then he thought, what am I doing this for? I'm going to get myself into the gold field. So he did that, took his camera equipment, and we actually, I think, my youngest brother, who's now deceased, ended up with all of his photographs and from the gold field, and some of his paintings, because he was also a painter, an artist, and so now they're with my middle brother. I'm the oldest of three. So anyway, he got his gold, about $1 million at that time, and was coming home with it back to Rocky Mountain House and my grandmother, my dad's mother, and he had a stroke and lost the ability to talk. But before he had his stroke, he knew he was getting sick, and he buried it. Nobody's ever found it. Who knows where it is. Anyway, he got home. He couldn't talk, and he died very shortly after that. And so sometime after that, Grandma Diamond, who was Grandma Ramsdell, but she sold, and she moved to Edmonton and bought property in Edmonton, and it's still there. It's very near the West Edmonton Mall. So, and it was during that time that she met the Art Diamond, and married him. My dad always resented his stepfather, and I don't know why particularly. I knew Grandpa Diamond, and he was an Irish Diamond, and he had come to Canada during the potato famine in Ireland, and he had actually fought in the Boer War. So he was kind of messed up from that, not so much emotionally as physically. He was not a well man. So my dad had all of this stuff going on, and I think he probably died without resolving any of those issues. And of course, they reflected very deeply on me personally. So what I understood at a very young age, and this is stuff that almost nobody talks about, because Grandpa Ramsdell was such, he was an explorer of wisdom and technology. He wasn't a horseman at all. In fact, he built his own car, and they gave it a name. I don't remember what the name was. And he also built a cottage on Cooking Lake. And he built all the furniture that was in it as well. And there was a piece of red leather that covered the couch. And that was the leftover leather from him upholstering the car he built. And so, yeah, history. It's all about history. But somehow or another, that man's spirit was kind of like an oversoul to me. And as a young child, I had all this curiosity about everything. I wanted to write. I have his pen. I wanted to draw. I wanted to paint. I wanted to know about how things worked. I wanted to understand insects and birds and mechanical things. I was fascinated by all this stuff. And I'm sure it had a great deal to do with him. And I always had two things. I had this urge to write. So I have volumes of stuff that I've written, mostly about the horses and my experiences with people involved with the horses. But then I had this overwhelming urge to paint. And so I started painting. And the first time I retired from horses, I bought two $25 artist sets from Walmart, and one was for sketching, and the other one had 5 acrylic paint tubes. It wasn't very fancy stuff, but it was enough to get me started. Pencils and brushes and paper. So I went to town on that, and then when I moved back to Langley, I'm in walking distance to a wonderful art shop, and so I started going there, and I started spending every available dollar that I had on upgrading all my art equipment. And now I have a pretty well-stocked studio for watercolor, acrylics, colored pencils, and oil is really my favorite, but I have to be careful because of the smell of it. Even the acrylics, I have to be careful with that. So I indulged myself, and I was doing about 3 paintings a month, 2 to 3 paintings a month. And so I have quite a few paintings that are out and about in various homes all over the place. And I have a small collection here, and at some point when it's not still dark, I'll show you what I have in my apartment of my work. So let me check the time. We're talking 7 minutes. So I want to talk about this. We can roll some of this into spirituality. We can say it's the DNA that I inherited from my father, and the DNA that I inherited from my mother with her mother as well. So anybody that, whether you're raising horses or cattle or fish, or you're growing plants of one sort and another, we all know that how we blend the genetics is going to have a big outcome in what we produce in whatever it is we're trying to breed. But I don't hear too many people talking about genetics of people. So because I used to have about 100 students a week for years, decades. And so when I took on a new student, if it was, I worked with everything from 2-year-olds up to 75-year-olds. And so one of the first questions I would always ask is, what's your, where are you from? And when people would say, well, I'm Canadian, it's like, yes, but Canadians mostly came from someplace else. So where did your parents or your grandparents come from? Where are you from? And because that told me an awful lot about, a whole lot about them. And so then I would try to work with that, as opposed to just cramming knowledge down their throat. And so I think that's really important, Um, so, and it certainly helped me to understand my heritage, because I had all these conflicting emotions, and of course we have all these hormones flowing through our bodies that we don't know that our hormones are actually controlling our thoughts and driving us to do the things that we do. And so I really needed to understand that, because um, through my art, what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to have people look at my painting and feel the spirit, the life essence of the individuals that I was painting. And sometimes I'll be painting, it's happened with a bull, it happened with a lion that I'd been commissioned to paint. It very often happens with, because I painted a bunch of the wild horses from Theodore Roosevelt National Park, that these animals actually start talking to me, that it's like they're right there with me. And sometimes I'll stop on a painting for quite a while, months, and even sometimes a year or two, because I need to let that painting sit there and talk to me. And then all of a sudden I'll see something and I'll jump up and pluck it off the wall or wherever it's been sitting, and I'll go to work on it again. So I think if I can share this kind of thing with people, that young people, children, and even seniors that are struggling with their identity, and whether you're a teacher or a student, I say I masquerade as a teacher, but what I really am is a full-time student. So yeah, I think I'll leave it at that for today. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening and following. I love my angelfish. I love my L340 plecos. I'm really excited to get the angels out of their tank and into the new 40-gallon that's sitting there bubbling away, aging, because it won't be a week old until Wednesday of this week. And I don't want to rush the tank, but I know I've got biologicals in there already. So yes, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you the next time. Thank you. Bye.